I think Kurt Cobain said it best. All in all is all we are. Yeah, that's me. I'm all in all a bunch of stuff. And it's not really what you might think is appropriate for maybe the leader of a country or something like that. And so that's where I'm gonna just say I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to make these videos to try to give you an idea of who I am and where I'm coming from. But I feel like maybe I should get to the point, and that's that I feel our country needs progress, not doublespeak progress. We need the type of leader that does not have conflicts of interests, the type of leader who has a sound mind and does not have a personality disorder. We need to develop a structure of government that has mechanisms in place to keep personality disordered psychopaths out of positions of power. We need to develop these mechanisms. I don't I don't think that I'm the most appropriate leader for the country, but I do know that I have the right ideas in mind, that I think we should make a country that's fair and equitable for everyone. A country with safety, security, and opportunity for everyone. Like this thing, safety and security, going to sleep at night knowing that your bills are paid, that there's food for your children, that your children have a future. These things that we seem to have lost here just in this last decade somehow in our country. You know, since I was a kid, I could always see that there was a problem in politics. Just the fact that the people that were my teachers, my leaders as a child, never wanted to talk about politics. The stigma around politics represented a serious problem to me. Everyone's so proud of what they do and what they stand for, but when it came to politics, everyone seemed to be upset, angry. That to me seemed like a serious problem. Um, what am I saying here? I come from a dysfunctional family. I'm making the claim that I was the scapegoat in this dysfunctional family. If you're interested in finding out what that might mean, what the effects on an individual in these circumstances are, feel free to look them up. If you doubt the fact that that's what I am, I challenge you to challenge me on it. I'm not saying this for victim purposes. I'm saying it because it's who I am, and I think if you were to look it up and understand a little bit where I'm coming from, you might understand why it's taken me until now to develop the sense of self-confidence in my life, to be here trying to get my ideas out there and trying to say, you know what, even a friggin' crackhead, even a kid whose mom didn't love him, even a kid who was suicidal for most of his life and is mostly a failure in his life, after sobering up for 10 years, still not able to achieve any level of success in his life, he could still have some ideas or know some things that could make everyone's life better. You know, all in all is all we are. Is that true? Is that the truth? Am I just going to be made out to be a nobody because of my history? You know, we come from a Christian based, a society built on Christian premises and beliefs and ideals. And we all preach this thing called forgiveness. Could I be forgiven to the point where I could be trusted? I don't know. I know that I've always doubted that. I know that it's one of the things that it makes me, it's one of the lines of the voices in my head. You're just a nobody. Even before I was a crackhead, you're just a nothing. You're just a, you know, I don't know, when your mom tells you that she never wanted you from a very young age, it doesn't really give you a very good sense of self-confidence or empowerment, you could say. I'm not I'm not saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm a victim." I'm saying these are the things that I've experienced in my life that have allowed me to grow. Now, it took me a long time before I realized that self destruction was not the path. I was 30 years old before I decided to quit drinking. When I quit drinking, I didn't actually quit drugs immediately. I still went through a bunch of life turmoil with relationship stuff, and that's the way I dealt with problems for my whole life, my whole adulthood. Drink or do drugs, forget about them. I still had several relapses on crack cocaine up until 2017. 2017, it was when Metallica was playing in Edmonton. I was I was living just down the road, smoking crack. I believe it was like July 29th, 2017 was the last time I had a relapse. Um, you know, it's hard to quit doing drugs, and some people have tried to tell me in my life that, oh wow, look at you, you're so courageous, you did it. But if you knew the life of a drug addict, you'd understand that it takes way more courage to stay in that life of poverty and chaos than it does to get out of it. Like, I kind of thought when I got out of it, life would be a lot easier. And, well, it doesn't work that way. There was reasons why I turned to drugs and alcohol for the solutions to my problems. And those problems still needed to be dealt with. So that's sort of my advice to all you alcoholics out there. Put the bottle down for long enough to feel like you have control over it. But then don't waste any time. Get to work on yourself, your inner well-being. Uh, that's what's gonna stop you from relapsing. For me, like I said in my last video there, that I kind of cheated. I had someone to do it for. Well, I don't know. I'm not an AA expert, but they say that that's actually about the worst thing that you could do, is to try to do it for someone else. And so I don't actually recommend taking that advice. I mean, it worked really well for me, knowing, like, because I never cared about myself, but knowing that the person who wanted to be with me deserved something better than what I was at the moment. After getting with her, knowing, I could have been so much more helpful in her life if I had had a real proper home, if I had had a vehicle and a driver's license. We could have had a lot more easement of a relationship. I could have been a lot better of a man for her, but I wasn't. And I felt so much shame, when guys with new trucks would drive by and I'd see her looking at the truck. I'd think, she deserves a guy like that, not a guy like me, taking the bus in the cold. Anyhow, where was I? So you do the crack, you get off the crack, you gotta work on yourself. You gotta figure out what is this thing inside you that makes you hate yourself. If you have kids and you can't do it for your kids, like, that is evidence that it's a serious, deeper problem. Um, Gabor Mate is one guy that, when I sort of discovered him, he was just another one of those people that I thought, yeah, that guy knows what he's talking about. And he says that pretty much every drug addict, every alcoholic, every fat person, and most cancers even are incarnations, basically, of, am I saying that right? I'd failed in English class. They're like their childhood trauma. There is no drug addict that didn't have some childhood trauma. And so, okay, what's that trauma? The trauma is the thing that caused you to be the drug addict. So the drug addict is the symptom. You have to fix the symptom and then focus on the very stem problem that caused you to that caused you to be a drug addict in the first place. And until you figure that out, you're just likely to go right back to it and right back to it. And some of those conversations are difficult, but I recommend that's where you start. I quit the drinking. I got married. She left me 2 months later. I stayed sober off the liquor, knowing that, if she comes back, I want to say I stayed strong and I stayed sober, and look, here I am, this much more prepared for a relationship in the future. And I got in the habit of not drinking to the point where I could remind myself real quickly whenever I was tempted. This is what's going to happen if you drink. You're going to lose your cell phone. You're going to get in a fight. You're going to fucking wake up somewhere you don't know where it is. You're going to wake up all covered in piss. You're not going to make it to work tomorrow. And you're going to be pathetic. And, yeah, that kind of mindset was one of the things that helped me. Looking at people that were successful. Saying like, oh, look, that guy has a house. How did he afford that house? Well, he didn't spend $1,000 a month on crack. That's how he afforded to buy that house. He put his money aside. He put the enjoyment or the luxury of life aside. He put his head down and he went to work. He saved his money. So, like, when you're a drug addict, you're surrounded by everyone else who's also a drug addict, and they have no concept of finances, of saving for the future, of investing into your child's education. So you have to go, okay, here I am, but I want to be there. What's that guy's mindset? And yeah, that's another thing that helped me, is trying to is saying, like, what does that guy have that I want? He's got a big house and he's got a beautiful wife and he's got some beautiful children. Okay, that sounds like something that would make me pretty happy. Okay, well, what did he have to do to get that? And it sounds so primitive, but I mean, Chris Williamson. Memes, mantras, man, they help. They really help. Don't take any shit about your memes and your mantras, bro. They help me anyway. One other thing was keeping a close track of how many days, how many months, how many years. Really, really, like, keeping a close eye on that, and always being able to say, like, man, I'm fucking 1 year, 3 months, and 2 days sober. And picking August 1st, 2014 for my day to quit made that calculation that much easier for me every time. That would be something I would recommend, is make it a date. Like, say, I'm going to quit, like, this Friday, or I'm going to quit, like, on at the first of this month. Make it something that, like, it's a plan. It's going to be something that's rememberable. So, for me, that worked. I don't know what works for other people, but, like, being able to say, like, I'm watching that number grow. And then another thing, when you're driving by the liquor store, you're saying, well, fuck, if I had a drink, it probably wouldn't hurt anybody, right? You're going, yeah, but I wouldn't be able to say that I'm 10 years sober if I had one drink. I just wouldn't be able to say that anymore. And it's like, It's one of the few things in my life that I feel like, wow, I'm pretty happy that I get to be able to say that. The irony of like my attitude prior was like, never say no to a beer. You know, it was like, no matter how irresponsible it was to have a beer in any given time, if it was offered to me, I would take it. I guess that brings me back to a little bit of a story that's kind of one I'm pretty proud of, is that so I'm deciding to quit there on August 1st, 2014, and here it is, July 31st, 2014, and my wife is my girlfriend, my ex-wife now, is about to go away to her treatment, and I'm in between jobs, and so I think the best thing for me is to just go get a job and start saving money and staying sober. And July 31st, I jumped on the bus and started heading to Edmonton. I had a job and a piss test lined up for the next day. So I started drinking on the bus, and I think I was drunk by Saskatoon, leaving from Limerick, Assiniboia, Saskatchewan. And I get to Edmonton, and I went to my buddy's place, and I just got wasted to the point where, yeah, I didn't wake up till noon the next day. I was all fucking half drunk. I went and had a shower and went to the drug test at 5:30, and I failed another drug test from alcohol, over twice the limit after sleep and being 5:30 the next day, and it's like, oh, this is my day. I'm quitting drinking. And the first thing I do on my day of quitting drinking is fail a piss test for being too drunk the night before. I was really saying, well, this is my last night drinking. It's going to be a hell of a night. And that's what I did. And I paid the price. So here I am in Edmonton. I came all the way there again for a job. And I'm fucking sitting there on a park bench in front of the drug test place on my way downtown back to my buddy's place. And some guy sitting on the bus bench, and he says to me, man, you look like you're not very happy right now. And I said, no, man, I'm not very happy. And he reaches in his bag and he pulls out a beer and he hands it to me. And I said, sorry, bro, I don't do that anymore. So right away I was tempted, and right away I said no. And then I got downtown and I ran into a friend that I hadn't seen in a while, and he reaches in his bag and said, let's go have a beer. And I said, no, I can't do that anymore. And nowadays I can sit with someone who's drinking. It's not nearly as fun because people who are drinking oftentimes don't make very much sense, and they don't have a very good sense of humor, if you ask me. But I can do it without being tempted. Actually, seeing how stupid they get just makes it that much easier. Yeah, so yeah, I think I got a whole bunch of good ideas. They're not all my ideas. Some of them are. Some of them are just taken from other examples in human history that I think are great ideas that could solve a lot of the problems that we're facing right now here in our country. And I got a problem with politics. I don't think that the game of politics is any longer a trustworthy game. There's something about what the government is that I think that we have forgotten, and that's that we hired them, that we're their bosses, that we pay their paychecks, and we need to be able to hire and fire them at any given point. And I think that's when we'd be closer to a true democracy. Democracy. Does it work? That's the old argument. Well, we can't have a real democracy because the plebiscites aren't smart enough to be able to run the country. We need this oligarchical class, whatever you call these elites, these statesmen, these honorable folks of such. Doublespeak there. Sorry about that. I was being sarcastic. Yeah, we gotta have a system that says like, hey man, there's some friggin' great people in this country, and and like we could be following them, like some real great people in this country, and we could be listening to them, but instead we're listening to someone who gaslights us and infantilizes us with every word out of his mouth. Like, I don't know, man. So I got a strategy, and that's to tell you that I'm a loser, that I'm a this, I'm a that. I'm gonna tell you all my bad stories, all my crimes, all my mistakes and failures. And I got a couple successes, and that's sobering up and starting to work on myself. I'm trying this keto intermittent fasting diet. I'm constantly looking into Stoic and Buddhist and yogi philosophies for self betterment, and health experts online. And, I've got a whole bunch of heroes out there in the world that have allowed me to realize that I'm one of those lifelong learner people, that I just love cramming my brain with more and more and more information. And it's brought a different kind of attitude towards life for me. When I was a kid, being the scapegoat, you're the bad kid. You're taught you're the bad kid, and you enact it. You believe it. You enact it. You find friends who are the bad kids. You do bad things. I was a pathological liar, little thieving little bastard when I was a kid. I was a class clown. The teachers hated me. I would hate me too if I had an attitude like mine towards myself right now. And so, geez, I lost my train of thought again. I'm all over the place, but I'm doing this on purpose, all over the place. I don't want to write it down. I don't know if I've already told you this. It's gotta be natural, so that you know that I'm not making this shit up. That this isn't some story. It's not a play for sympathy. As a matter of fact, like this thing that I have for an idea of a structure of government that allows for actual progress, that allows for success of the lower and middle class people to live happy lives and not suffer whatever, whatever they decide you have to do it nowadays. 15-minute city's coming right up. Sign up or we'll jail you. Yeah. If I had my way, I'd just set up the system so that the good people are the ones who get in power. The system that says, no, you failed these metrics. You have a mental problem. We're going to give you some help, but you're not going to have any part of the decision-making processes of our country. So that's my strategy. I'm going to try to get all the attention of all my heroes. Douglas Murray, Jordan Peterson, Elon Musk, all you guys from Canada here, Clyde Do Something, Moose on the Loose, Spencer Gatton, the Pleb. You guys are all the heroes. You guys, True North, Northern Perspective, Mr. Sunshine, baby. You guys are the heroes. You guys are the ones who are telling about the problems, who have the courage to speak up. And I think, I would like to do your job, but I don't have that in me. I'm not an organized enough person. I have some really good ideas, and my plan is to use people like you guys out there to get you guys to interview me, to get you guys to talk about me, so that I can get my ideas out there. Let's just finish with this. Who's the greatest archetype of the hero in our world, in our Western world? Isn't that Jesus Christ? Isn't he the archetypal hero? So what happened to the archetypal hero? He got killed. We killed him. We hung him on a cross. We said, we don't like guys that are as good as you. That's what happens. And Jordan Peterson, I'm pretty sure that's how come you were so scared to be prime minister, is because if you know you're going to go there and be a real prime minister, you're going to ask yourself with every decision you make, what would Jesus do? That you'll probably just get taken out, just like Jesus. If anyone was actually a real gentleman here, he'd become enemy number one. Why? Because we're all such opposite things of the real gentleman we know we should be, that we're going to tear him down. You can see that especially in this country. In this country, Canada, right now, we've all been stripped of opportunities for growth for so long that there's nothing left. There's nothing left to hold on, but that to hold on to what we have, every little bit that we have, and put other people down, and anyone who wants to stand out and speak up. It's easier to just put him down for being the one to stand out than it is to stop and listen to his cause. Part of the reason why I'm here is because, like, since I was like 19, 20, I was starting to develop this attitude of recognizing that the problems that I saw when I was a kid with the politics were much more serious than I had known, and I tried to come up with ideas and different things and listen and keep my ears open for what was going on in the world. And all the feedback I got from everyone all around me all the time was, buddy, you're never going to make a difference. This is the way things are. You know, and even nowadays, when the entire country is screaming, we want a different prime minister, like, they're only screaming it in their bedrooms. You know, like, there's something wrong with where when we go, oh, look at this problem. Yeah, that's a serious problem. What the hell are we going to... Oh,